Here's the number one way to make the most money as a business loan broker slash agent, and in a way you wouldn't have thought of. And that is by not doing the upfront work and doing that full time. Here's what I mean. I've been a broker for a long time, funded a lot of clients of different shapes and sizes. I'm a cerebral. I'm very introverted. I would consider myself more of a brainy type of person. I like what the underwriters are able to do. I like looking at those files, looking at documents, the math, the systems. That's just how my brain is wired. And having been in this industry for a while, running other businesses as well in the digital marketing agency, lead generation space, helping out other business owners, affiliate marketing in the health space, other verticals there, other ventures. This has been my primary focus for some time, and you wonder how I've made it that. And I'll get to that in a second. But as the broker slash agent, you are the middleman connecting the business owner with their business or multiple businesses to that right lender. And don't forget the right underwriter and underwriters. So you're trying to find them the best solution by figuring out first, what are their pain points? What are their problems? Are they trying to go away from pain? Are they trying to get to pleasure? What do they currently have now in their business? What's the major problem and problems? Also, is that affecting them on a health and a relationship level, and more also on their personal side? So you really have to dig in. And being the broker slash agent up front, it may take some kind of energy, or I mean, like an abrupt or a huger amount of energy and time in some cases. So you have to be very protective of that. And I'm very punctual and disciplined now. I have been for quite a while. And on the front end, you're going to be the person communicating with that business owner to bring them in to that lender so they can do an in-house look, or you can bring them into a brokerage where they house the lenders. And I have this a lot where I already have those direct lender partnerships. It's just better in a market to send them into a brokerage and what's acceptable, more flexibility and things like that. So however you communicate with the clients on the front end, that's up to you. And there's various ways about it. You might be a more phone call person. You might be a more email, text message. At a point, it could just take a phone call. I've funded clients literally where I have great personal and business relationships with, where I've never actually gotten on a call with. And I actually would prefer it if I don't do calls. Us introverts, cerebral type of people, doing the front end work where we have to qualify and ask those questions. If we could do it in a different manner, in a different way, I've figured that out. I've iterated those processes. I love doing that stuff, figuring it out. And as an independent, it's kind of hard to get your leads all the time if you're not working for a company that's sending you consistent leads. And then you're going to be hammered down and been told, hey, coming into the office, how many deals did you get funded this week or this month? Oh, only a little bit. Oh, okay, well, I don't want to be in that position. I didn't grow up in that high pressure position. I went to school academically focused on things, chemical engineering a bit, and then we moved into business administration. But what ends up happening is the ones who I see making the most, think about this like as an insurance company. Now, I don't want to get into the whole MLM and all that because that's not what this is, but let's say you have your own agency or you are the owner and you have agencies underneath you. So what you're doing is sending out all these other brokers and independent agents out into the field for them to be promoting the products and services. So you're not promoting it as the head of it. You're just the person that deploys. It's like the general who doesn't go to war, but he sends in his cadets, he sends in the recruits, he sends in everybody, all the soldiers in while he's doing everything over here. And so that general over there is then relying on you and many, many others, as long as they have that put together. Those people are going to go out there and get the clients. They might still have a part in that process. They might be more of a generalist, maybe not a specialist. They might have their hands in a lot of projects. When you move higher into higher roles like CEOs, I say SEO, CEO, presidents, and that, I'm not saying they aren't specialized, but the more you get into more projects, the more you gain that knowledge that then you can spread to others. And you then become less of a specialized skill set at that point in many, many cases. That's just what happens. And over here, like my skill set, I'm not going to say my number one skill set is the phone. If that was my only skill to talk, I wouldn't be in this industry anymore. Like, what world do I want to be a part of something where my number one skill set that I have to hone in 110% is how well I can uh, use my marketing and sales, and I'm not even a salesperson. Like, I do well at that now, but I don't consider myself that. And so I have other ways of communicating with people and sharing with them information, pre-underwriting files before they go into the underwriter, and I know what to look out for, and I give people a very customized and personalized way of seeing those services and things that they wouldn't have been able to see publicly, and I categorize it well for them, and I show them what's in their best interest to do, all by pre-underwriting a file and what they submit to me on their website and so forth. But the one who's making that money is the person who deploys those agencies. So whenever you go out there and you bring somebody in, whether they had their hands in that or not, and the client gets funding, guess what? That person at the top, the head, is going to get a percentage of that. What did they do? Potentially nothing. All they did was probably give you a platform where they're connected with those lenders. Maybe you're not directly, but they're connected with them and they have contracts and agreements set in place that when you bring somebody in, that client gets funding, then they're able to earn a percentage of what you make. So just imagine they have 100 plus people. Let's say in 1 week you have 5 people that got clients over 300, 500,000 funding. Now you will probably get a majority of it and then get to keep a little bit of it. But just because they tell you they keep a little bit doesn't mean they're not making a whole lot. If they get a good amount of clients that the broker brings in and they're funded, guess what? Now that 2,000 or whatever off the 14,000 you made or whatever, now they have other brokers out there, or if they earn more or less, that they're getting paid 2, 5, now 10,000. Boom, they just needed 3 to 4 clients at that amount. Boom, and then they have the other services. They have multiple services. So I hope this is painting a clear picture for you. And then there are people out there who create training programs. There's some of them that I wouldn't even pay, or none of that. There's some of them that I've gone through myself and I go, what is he even teaching us? He's not even teaching us how to read bank statements, credit reports, all this other stuff. And he just has, or they just have the contracts and those agreements with those providers, whether they're direct lenders or not, third party, brokerages, etc. So whenever you bring somebody in, they're getting a percentage of you, whether it's more or less. And so once their plan is to bring in a lot of people, a lot of agencies underneath them, and they're at the top of the pyramid. I'm not going to call it a pyramid scheme because that's not really what it is. And so now they're funneling everything through you. And so they're relying on you to bring people in. They might be doing it too on their back end to just make sure they meet their goals. Not always, though. They're not always likely out there recruiting or trying to find another lead source to communicate with. You're having to do a lot of that grunt work. So at a point, you have to understand the numbers to that, if it makes sense to go and start a brokerage, do things on your own. There's people out there who create training and pay for, and they get a percentage of the client who they bring in, and the head of that. And I'm not always with that. Just depends on the type of the training and how quality of it is. And still, I wouldn't even like that because we're doing a lot of the work. And at the end of the day, you don't eat until you get somebody funded. Now, you can do the whole, let's do a processing fee of their application. You can get to that. You can get to a consult where they charge you $40 to $50 per call, or that. I don't really do that. I could evolve into that. I can even charge a lot more because I do high level calls if I have to, not always, but understanding cash flow, projections, profitability, EBITDA, how to improve all of this, how to mitigate risk. I do more than just that. And then also on the consulting for their business and getting more leads and more of that, since I have the experience, I can do that in at higher levels for different businesses. So keep that in mind up here. I'm not saying you don't have to or should be just an independent broker or having to be the front end of that, because if I'm very honest with you, don't enjoy the front end. If I had the choosing to, and I might become one, is an underwriter. I'd rather be the person looking at, because I'm very analytical. And yeah, at a time, I may just become the lender. And there's still big decisions to be made there. But at the front of it, you never know, because in the market where it's so volatile sometimes, you think you have someone, you don't. You can't eat until they get funded, and you're just relying on someone because you're getting paid on that commission only. You're not getting paid salary or hourly or whatever other way, kidding. But that's something to be cautiously aware of and understand what you're getting involved with, because as an independent, if you don't have the leads, if you don't have quality of leads, you have to find ways of generating that. And if you don't get enough of it, like I've seen, and I've had my stint still, where you can go months without like high quality deals. You go with like lower quality, and you'll still get clients funded, but those high quality are there. There's that personal and business relationship, but yes, they still are hesitant, or you even after everything, they still want to sabotage themselves. They still go in a way that it's so unpredictable because of their character that keeps getting in the way. So it's an industry where you'll figure out how it is if you haven't yet, and if you've been in it for some time, you might understand what I'm saying. But if you don't, it's okay. You'll get it in some time. That's all for now. All information I'll leave for you down below in the description, excuse me, and to pick up more resources and go through more material. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.